Greenhouse gas emission is one of the major causes of global warming, as we know. And if we divide the greenhouse gas emission into economical sector, there is one shocking sector that contributes to equally as much as heat and electricity production. If you want to know more what it is and how you can reduce the emission from this particular sector, continue watching this video. Hi, this is Felix.
Hi, Alfred.
Welcome to another episode of 4 Decades Apart. So Alfred, when it comes to economical factor contributing to the most in greenhouse gas, which of the following that you would think would contribute the most? Heat and electricity production, buildings, agriculture, forestry and other land uses, transportation, or industry?
Well, I probably think either transportation or industry would cause the most greenhouse gas.
Actually, the second most factor that contribute to greenhouse gas is agriculture, forestry, and other land uses. That's 24%. And it's almost the same as what we have for heat and electricity production.
Really?
Which is 25%.
Oh, surprising.
Yes. If we look at greenhouse gas emission in a different angle, if we divide the percentage of greenhouse gas into gas types, the first one that comes out, of course, is carbon dioxide. We know is always the major part of the greenhouse gas emission. The second most contributor of the greenhouse gas emission based on gas type is actually one called methane.
Methane, okay. What percentage they contribute to the greenhouse gas?
The carbon dioxide contribute to 65%.
Okay.
And methane being the second, it contributes to 16%.
Okay.
Yeah. Where's this methane comes from mostly? The biggest contributor of methane is actually from agriculture and waste.
Okay.
So we're now seeing a trend here. Something is going around the topic of agriculture and waste, and methane is one of the big part of it. So what can we do to really reduce methane emission? One big thing that contributes to methane is actually cattle farming.
Really? Okay.
Cattle farming.
Raising cows, goats, pigs,
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We wanted to talk about this particular topic about meat production, how it contributes to methane, and how we can reduce the meat production in general. There are obviously two ways for us to do it. One is to reduce the amount of meat that we are consuming, and second way is actually really interesting. It's actually been putting some time to see how it can make is some meat substitute.
Yeah.
So how can we have some substitute for meat? And there are two main types of meat substitute. One is plant-based meat, and one is lab-grown meat. I really want to touch on the lab-grown meat.
Okay.
Yeah, can you tell us more about that?
Well, actually, the lab-grown meat study of this sort of product dates back to about 20 years ago. One of the experts found out that you can grow using stem cell from the animal.
Yeah.
You can cultivate so that it can grow to a certain stage that it becomes a piece of meat. So it is in 3 stages. You have to select the so-called starter cells. And then you put it in the so-called growth medium. Actually, it's kind of a new solution with all these different kinds of nutrition and all these things, and put it into a bioreactor, not nuclear reactor, bioreactor. With a proper scaffold, the cell will grow onto this scaffold and eventually become a piece of meat. Well, this process still in the experimental stage. It's not very common and popular yet, but they foresee in 2021 they can produce it commercially. And let me give you some idea how this can be done. If condition allows, in 2 months, they can make 50,000 tons of meat out of just 10 cells. So that will be the future development.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now we kind of get an idea how this meat are produced. Like, why is lab-grown meat is better for the environment?
There are a few obvious facts on this.
Mm-hmm.
One, land use. Well, and when you grow it in an indoor setting with a lab or whatever, the use of land is only about 1/20th of the conventional farm. So instead of using, say, 20 hectares of land to raise the cows, you need only 1 hectare of land to grow the same amount of meat.
Interesting.
So the land use is a lot less.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Second thing, less energy required. To raise a cow, probably you need a lot of food for the cows to eat. And you need a lot of sunshine, a lot of air.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, O2, oxygen. But in a lab environment, you can control it to a very minimal energy. So you don't need that less energy required. And then the emission, greenhouse emission, the difference is that for the traditional type of cattle farming, your green emission is 18% against only 4%. They still have greenhouse gas emission, but a lot less. And I think the final thing is also very important is pollution.
Right.
The conventional cattle farming or livestock farming, they use a lot of nitrogen, phosphate, these sort of things, and also antibiotics, to keep the cattle healthy, and sometimes some heavy metal in the chemicals. You have to get the grass healthy before the cow can eat.
Right.
So all these together, you create a lot of pollution. But in a lab control environment, basically zero.
So less waste from
less waste and less pollution. That's important. Yeah.
Okay. So there are obviously a lot of really great benefits that the lab-grown meat can contribute to in terms of greenhouse gas emission and to the environment in general. But we also are talking about, in compared to conventional meat, like these lab-grown meat or plant-based meat that we're talking about, there are also a few other good things, right? Like with one, there's no killing involved.
Yeah.
Right? Like we don't have to kill a cow or kill some animal to get the meat from it, but we can just make our own. And it's healthy in general. Sure. I would say in most of the time, assuming regulations is there to make sure these are the things. It's so much easier to control. It's healthy in general, and it's less expensive, as what you mentioned about, because of using less land, less energy, less water. The cost of it is actually
the ultimate cost should be cheaper.
The cost should be cheaper.
Yeah.
So now everybody go like, all right, we got these two kind of meats. How, like, do they taste exactly the same? Like, what is it? Like, so we actually went to A&W in Canada. We just got a kind of meat that developed by a company called Beyond Meat. And they have this Beyond Meat burger that we got it from it. And we just have a little experiment and test it and for ourselves to see how it really tastes, how it really look, and do we notice any difference?
Honestly speaking, if you don't tell me it is man-made meat, I can't really distinguish that it is different from the real meat.
Right.
Well, to me, I can accept it, no problem.
Yeah.
Because I always love to eat veggies, instead of real meat. So to me, I would accept it. No problem.
Yeah. In fact, right now in the market, we can only get plant-based meat so far, by far. But coming up very soon, we will have the cultured meat or the lab-grown meat coming up very soon. And the two really popular plant-based meat that we know about right now is the Beyond Meat and one called Impossible Meat. Yeah. I really want to say it like this, right? Like all these companies, most of them created from the angle of how to make the meat substitute to be as close as possible with the conventional meat. And the question here is like, if you're aware of such meat available in the market that pretty much look exactly the same or taste similar, would you choose those meats over conventional meat? That's a question for you guys to answer.
Sure, sure.
So here, I think there's several ways that we could reduce the methane emission. One is to eat less meat, obviously. To eat less meat. Like if you choose to eat less meat, then you are contributing to reducing less methane indirectly. And the other one is to start eating or start consuming these plant-based meat.
You can
or
always,
maybe,
have both
yeah,
at the same time,
yeah,
Or maybe day one you have the conventional meat, day two you can try this
yeah,
new meat.
yeah.
And
Start to get used to it, or at the end of the day, I think we play a big role of contributing to this. If we don't consume that much conventional meat, then we don't need to have that much cattle farming, and we won't have that much of a emission that we're producing in the earth right now.
So let's try and help the globe, help the earth to become healthier.
If you like what we're doing here in talking about social issues, environmental issues, make sure you click the subscribe button and click the bell button beside it so that you can get notifications on the upcoming video that's going to come out. And don't forget to share this video with your friends and family so that they could also get the knowledge and get the awareness of these kind of issues in the future. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you.
Bye.